new office, a little bit of a new setup. So yeah, maybe a little technical difficulties here. But yeah, I don't know why I can't find it in the thing, but yeah, I've had a couple of people say, hey, no audio. Maybe if y'all could shoot me a message now that says the audio's there, I'd super appreciate that. It should be functioning. Everything should be popping along. But yeah, so like I said, I've run many seminars in my career. I've run agent seminars, training agents. I've spoken at events, and I've certainly run a lot of Medicare seminars. As a matter of fact, when we launched Grace's business, we started it by doing seminars for the most part, buying leads and just doing seminars to get it rolling. And then now we've kind of grown it into a little different machine where a lot of it relies around telesales, doing Facebook marketing, Facebook leads, inbound traffic, etc. And we still obviously have a beautiful office here, and we get people that come around and see us. Thank you, Lily. I appreciate that confirming. But we did a little different seminar. Like normally when I've done a seminar for clients, it's always just been about Medicare, like nothing but Medicare, Medicare 101, Medicare upcoming changes, things you need to get ready for in regards to Medicare, et cetera, et cetera. But yesterday we did a little different slide deck that I got from my buddy Pete Fournier, and we talked a little bit more about retirement in general. We certainly talked about Social Security basics. Part of the topic was things that will affect your income as you approach retirement. That was part of it. We certainly talked about long-term care. We talked about the difference between working in a fee space environment, like with financial advisors versus no fees, how that affects your money, especially when you're in downturns. Right. So if you have money in a 401k or IRA, something like that, and you hit a downturn in the market, because let's be honest, it happens. We had a pretty big one back in the COVID years. It was pretty massive. It was like a 30% downturn in the market. So certainly a lot of people lost money in their 401ks, IRAs, et cetera on that. So we talked about how having fees in there compounds that problem, right? And how much you have to recover in accumulation to get back to where you started from before that loss. Talked a lot about that. We certainly talked about some Medicare basics, handed out some resources, and basically just from there invited them to schedule a discovery call, et cetera, et cetera. The event went really well. I'll give you just some metrics on it. We mailed out 6,500 direct mail pieces for the event. I worked with Jen Nichols over at Leading Response. Outstanding rep, great company, in my opinion. Anybody out there that's been doing seminars for a minute, you're probably really familiar with Leading Response. They're definitely one of the best ones out there, by the way, Ghostros. But they helped me fill the room. So we said 6,500 mailers. We're doing a 2-day event. Day 1 was yesterday. Day 2 is tonight. We had 47 RSVPs for yesterday, and we had 41 show up. Pretty standard. I'd say that's even kind of on the high end. Now, after they RSVP'd, we called them, right, on about 4 days before the event to confirm them, make sure, hey, you're indeed coming. We got you booked. So that certainly helps. But yeah, we had 41 and 47 show up. We got 33 booked for tonight. So again, we dropped 6,500 mail pieces, pretty close to filling up the room perfectly. Yesterday, we got appointment request cards. So people that want to get an appointment with us, they just want us to reach out because maybe they weren't ready, didn't have something confirmed on what they could schedule. And then we had people booking appointments immediately too. So I've already got a couple of appointments on the calendar for people that want to talk to me further. And I've got a rash of people that have given me appointment cards requesting me to call them and schedule appointments. So super looking forward to it. One of the things I do like about Leading Response, other than the fact that it's pretty turnkey, right? They send out your mailer. They set up a landing page for you. They handle all of the RSVPs. And in my case, I took it a couple of steps further, and we had them confirm their entree as part of the RSVP process, right? The entree that they're going to eat for dinner. So I created a little prefix menu with the restaurant, and they basically had an option from beef, chicken, or vegetarian. Pick whatever you want. The rest of the details I took care of as far as salads and et cetera, et cetera. And then they got to pick their own dessert. No big deal there. So overall, the event went swimmingly, right? Excellent event. Oh, I know. This is what I was going to say. What I really like about Leading Response, other than the fact that it's all turnkey and they did a really, really good job on the mailer, like everything went gangbusters, is that when they send you your RSVPs, they have their own little CRM, pretty simple, where they load up all your RSVPs. You can confirm them in there, has all their data, name, address, phone number, email if they gave it to you. It also has some other data points on those clients, most important being their estimated assets that they have. So as they do that, they total up the assets on the RSVPs that are coming, and they kind of run that as an accumulation in the top of your CRM, so you can see roughly how much money is going to be in the room while you're there, which is exciting. So for example, yesterday, or not yesterday, but between both days, yesterday and today, we've got about $36 million in estimated assets that are going to be in the room. 36 million. I don't know how bad I would have to suck to only get $1 million of it, but I'm assuming I would have to suck really bad. So the goal is to go out there and at least get 1.5. One of my mentors, Pete Fournier, that's helping me out and learning and going through this, he's like, you could easily get 3 out of that if you work hard. So, I mean, obviously it's all going to be in the follow-up, right? So good news, like even for the people that didn't come to the seminar, I've got permission to contact. I have their information. I can definitely call them. For the people that came, licked the plate and left, same thing. I've still got PTC. I can call them too, right? And then obviously I have my high value targets that are already scheduling appointments, already filling out appointment request cards. So my expectation is that it will be extremely profitable, and we are excited to do it again and again and again and again. So stay tuned. I will continue all updated on that. A couple of the things that, again, a couple of things I felt like we did different than what other people do in seminars. If you look at the photos that I took, is branding. I'm a big proponent of branding. I talk about it a lot. I think it's extremely important, whether you're branding your company name, your agency name, like for us, Go Avila, or some of our sub brands like Avila Retirement Solutions, for example, Avila Medicare Solutions, or brand your name, right? If you don't have an agency name or an agency brand, just brand yourself, but brand something. So when people walked into our room last night, to give you an example, everybody has a private folder. It's a custom printed folder, has the brand on the front, Avila, right? Sitting on that folder is a pin branded Go Avila. So as soon as they walk in, they see 2 big brands. There's also the brand is already running on the display monitors as they come into the room, right? So they immediately see it 3 times right there real quick. When they open up their folder, any of the documents that are inside that folder also branded. So, and to give you an example, we did a handful of items inside the folder. Number 1, we had a seminar worksheet, which is basically a pre-retirement worksheet. Kind of goes through some of the things that it goes through the presentation. It's in line with the chronology of the presentation, so to speak. But it also serves as kind of a thought process for them to, like, it has some thought-provoking questions in it and so forth for them to think about, like, what are the things that I need to be most concerned about as I'm moving closer and closer or further and further into retirement? Is my biggest concern my Medicare and the cost of healthcare? Is my biggest concern what I'm going to do with some of these 401ks that I have when RMDs come, required minimum distributions, et cetera? Like, how am I going to handle that? So that worksheet is designed so that when they come for a discovery appointment with me next, they really, if they filled that sheet out properly and used it as a functional worksheet and thought process, that's pretty much going to do all the discovery for me. We can just walk through that worksheet together, talk about it, start to examine some possible solutions. And then from there, I take it, come up with my master plan, and then invite them back for a second meeting to pretty much show them what my ideas are and hopefully close the business. That was one of the items in there. That's on the left side, pretty simple black and white document. On the right side in my folder, I had 3 branded slicks. One was about Tony and about Avila, kind of our approach to the business. Another one was the next steps. What are the next steps that you need to take with me after this seminar? I think that's a big part of it that agents maybe miss. Like getting people to the seminar is one thing, but you got to get them, like you think of it as a funnel. That's just one step in the funnel, is getting them all in the room. But then I need to tell them what the next steps are. I shouldn't just throw the event and hope that I get some appointments and hope that some people call me. Like I need to guide them through the next steps. I could have done a little better job explaining the next steps at the end of my presentation. So that's something we're going to work on today, is actually reference that document closer and be like, hey, here's the next steps. I did mention it briefly to them at the end, but I can tighten that close up a little bit for sure. But it goes through their next steps, what to expect, right? Discovery call, yada, 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 yada. And then the third one was a letter for me and why I enjoy this business, why I do what I do. So a little more personalized. And then inside the folder, on the flaps, there was some more customization, QR code to set appointments, a bunch of different things like that. So we super dress it up. Like we super dress up the events with heavy branding, because I want that brand to stick in their brain. And I believe it shows a certain level of professionalism. To give you an example, there was one gentleman specifically who I know really enjoyed the event, because he was the first guy to volunteer to do a testimonial on video after the event, which for me says a lot. Like if you can take somebody to a dinner seminar, talk to them about some boring topics like retirement, Medicare, and Social Security, and convince them to give you a video testimonial at the end of it of how good the event was, how good the information was, etc., that you can then use to advertise for it more. I think that says a lot about the quality of the event. But what I was really going to say is this gentleman, as soon as he walked in and he looked around the room and he saw how well laid out it was, just the presentation of the room, the folders, the monitors, everything going on, and our check-in process, he immediately opened up his folder, grabbed the appointment request card, and started filling it out. So if you're not getting response like that from your seminar attendees, you could probably beef it up a little bit. You could probably do some extras. And it's not, to be honest with you, it is not that expensive to get folders, to get some documents, to present that stuff. I think I spent maybe $1,000, maybe $1,200, and I bought 250 of everything. I bought 250 of the custom printed folders, 250 pins. I printed 250 packets of the seminar workflow sheet. I printed 250 glossy slicks of those other items that are in there. Those were super cheap. The most expensive thing I bought, I think, was the folders, which weren't that bad. I think maybe those were $350 for a pack of 250. And that should get me through probably 3 full events, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 times before I have to re-up and buy new ones. That's not that big a deal. And you can do that cheaper. You can do that a lot cheaper. You can not do glossy slicks. You can just do some black and whites. You could also just go buy the cheap little folders from Walmart, for an example, and then put a sticker on it that's got your logo, your info, things like that, right? So you can still accomplish some of those items without having to spend some of the extra dollars. But, you know, if you've got $1,000, $1,200 that you can use to beef up your seminar with custom pins, custom folders, and some custom items for each of your attendees, like it really raises, I promise you, it really raises the level of the event. They will see you as a massive professional, and you will get people, again, filling out appointment requests before you ever open your mouth and hit your slide deck. So I am excited. We killed it last night. We got another 33 tonight. Super excited. We're going to keep doing this. So big shout out to Pete for giving me some of the encouragement and giving me some of the knowledge to get me pushed in this direction. I really appreciate you, buddy. It just more evidence that it doesn't matter what stage of the game you are in this business. Good mentorship, right? Good direction, good people in your corner. Super important, right? And back in December of last year, I was hanging out in West Palm Beach at Cody Askin's event, and I just reached out to Pete and I was like, hey man, I need some help in this annuity space. I need someone that can kind of really help guide me and explain this and coach me up, because I don't want to half-ass it. He's like, no problem, dude, come on out. He didn't ask me to put all my contracts with him. I did have to pay a little bit of a fee, but other than that, I got to go spend 2 full days with him. I got to sit in full day training with him, and then he took me to his seminar and let me watch his full event in action. I took all of that, made it my own, put the Avila stamp on it, and now we're producing it. So super excited about it. We're definitely going to do well in this. The main goal, the big stretch goal, is we want to do 15 million in annuities and life insurance in 12 months. Pete did 35 in 12 months, running one event every month, 33 and a half, something like that, 34. It's arguable, but and he was very adamant. And if you know Pete Fournier, you know his attitude. I love the dude, but he's like, you're not going to be as good as me. He's like, just face it. I'm like, well, okay, fine. It's like, if I can be half as good as you, but work just as hard, I know I can do that. Then yeah, I can go out and do 15 million in 12 months. Let's do that. So that's our stretch goal. All right. With that said, man, this show is always brought to you by DFY CRM, my CRM of choice. If you don't have a CRM for some reason, you need to get with the program, man, and get you a CRM. And if you need a good one, give them a call, man. It's definitely one of the best ones. All right. So with that said, this article popped up in Modern Healthcare. I can put it in the group, but Modern Healthcare lives behind a paywall. So unless you have a subscription, you will not be able to read it anyway. But it talks about some of the Medicare Advantage rebound signals for 2027. Yeah, you heard that right. Rebound signals, which is interesting because I think most of us would say, man, the Medicare Advantage world in some ways is devolving somewhat, but it's not. It's just correcting. Let's be honest. It's just correcting from the massive uptick that it's had. So I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to read this article for you guys, but I am going to bullet point some of the things that are in here because I do believe they are quite important. And then we are also going to talk about another article coming out from Aetna. And then we're going to jump into our AEP checkup from the neck up Sun Tzu style. But basically, some of the bullet points on this article. Number one, key points from the article. Medicare Advantage carriers are continuing to shrink or reshape their footprints, right? It's because of rising medical utilization, higher healthcare costs, reimbursement pressures, risk adjustment changes. They're all pushing carriers to be more selective. I don't think that's really any new news, right? We're all experiencing that. If you've been in the Medicare space for more than a minute, you're aware that, hey, it is correcting, it is changing. Now, CMS obviously did finalize a 2.48% increase in MA payments for 27, which is more than 13 billion. But insurers, right, the plans, they're all saying, hey, that's great and all, but it's not enough to keep up with our trend, right? The inflationary cost, medical MLR ratios, et cetera. We need more is what it is. But nonetheless, they got their 2.48. United Healthcare is considering another round of county exits. Duh. I've actually already gotten a copy of the service area reductions for United Healthcare. If you haven't seen them, get in touch with your upline broker, your FMO, your NMO, whoever it is that helps you out. They should have access to those, hopefully. If not, hit me up. I'll be happy to share them with you. It's nothing proprietary. It's just they're simple SARs. They're service area reductions. But the preliminary list reported includes about 34 counties across 12 states, which is going to affect about 20,000 members. Now, they had a much larger reduction last year, but this year, UHC's reduction isn't as big, right? But they do expect their overall, they expect to lose about 1.1 million members next year. Wow. That's a pretty good loss in membership. It doesn't say in here what their total membership is right now, but they are expecting to lose over 1 million members. It also says that Humana is making considerably larger 2027 adjustment than they've done previously. They have quite a few market exits, and they are expecting about 600,000 members, about 8% of their membership to be lost or moved. And they expect to only recapture about 40% of their current membership. Aetna is shifting towards more margin discipline. So they are looking at reducing some comp. on different plans, et cetera, et cetera. So they're not necessarily doing much in regards to footprint change, certainly not growing. I don't think they're shrinking it too much, but they are looking at how can we keep what we've got, but create more margins for ourselves, which is obviously going to come back with us in the form of reduced commissions, likely maybe some more non-commissionable plans, et cetera, et cetera. So a couple of other quick points in this article. Number one, this isn't major carriers abandoning Medicare Advantage. It's more accurately market by market cleanup. Like I said, like the Medicare Advantage world isn't really devolving or having problems. It is just correcting, man. It's been on a sick ride since 2014. Massive bull market. Then it's having to turn around and correct a little bit. And that's we're still in that space, right? But all of this, what it really means is that ultimately it's going to create a lot of involuntary shopping because a lot of people are going to lose their plans, right? And I know people like to throw around some of these numbers and they're like, oh man, 1 million people are going to lose their plan this year. If you go back and look at trends and you look at numbers, you look at history, every year during annual election period, there's about 1 million seniors that lose access to their Medicare Advantage plan by no fault of their own because of plan exits and reductions. The last couple of years, it's been higher, right? But it happens every year. It's not something new. It's just the last couple of years, last year and certainly this year, it has been higher, where instead of maybe 1 million of them losing their plan access due to service area reductions and exits, we're getting more than 2 million, 2.5, maybe even 3 million. So it's definitely grown quite a bit, and it's going to be the same thing this year. Don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a massive opportunity, because anytime there is challenge in a marketplace, there is also massive opportunity. So we are going to see a lot of involuntary shopping because of plan exits, right? Because of service area reductions. And they're going to need to find another plan. Secondarily, you're going to have plan changes where people are just voluntary shopping. They're like, my plan's still cool, but it's not as great as it was. Let me go shop and see if I can find something that might be a little better, or let me see how I can beef this up. And just going to jump ahead a little bit on this point. When you were talking to clients who are reshopping their current plan, right? And they're like, I have a good plan. It's not terrible, but they decreased the dental benefit, or they decreased my drug benefits, or they decreased the OTC benefits, some of the extras, whatever. They increased the hospital copayments. Don't always just assume that a plan change is the right thing. Don't just assume like, oh, they're not happy with their plan, let me find them another MA plan. That might be the case, but it's not always the case. A lot of times you can just say, hey, well, a plan change isn't really the necessary thing for you. What we should really look at is how we can make your plan more robust by either adding in some more dental for you to make up that loss, adding a hospital indemnity plan to offset those copayments, right? Those are always options that should be explored in your mind too, not just like, oh man, I got to find a new MA plan. Because if you get stuck in that lane, then you may not find the MA plan that's any better than what they have, and then they just back out, right? So understand that there are a few ways that you can skin that cat to make them happier after they do that plan review. And this is true whether it's an existing client or not. So we will have a lot of involuntary shopping this year because of some of these plan exits. Now, also, I want to just kind of jump into this article a wee bit. This also in Modern Healthcare, which is stuck behind a paywall, but they are cutting some Medicare Advantage commissions for 2027. This article is not going to go through all of it, but is basically going to tell you that they will not pay commissions to marketers for selling 123 Medicare Advantage plans across 33 states for next year. So that's going to affect about 780 counties. Looks like Georgia is one of the bigger ones, and so forth. So Aetna will not compensate agents and brokers for new enrollments into standalone Part D. Surprised we're still getting paid on any of their Part D stuff. So they are yanking that. And then obviously they're going to make a good chunk of their plans non-commissionable. So Get a copy of your updated Aetna schedule. I don't think they have been released yet, but they will be at some point, not too far. But so, like I said earlier in that article, the first article, right? Aetna's not changing their footprint very much, but they are looking at how they can increase their margins. And one of the ways they're going to increase it is by reducing plan commissions on certain plans. So be prepared for that. Know exactly where you're going there. And do a few other takeaways from that first article again before we jump into the Sun Tzu stuff that I want to have some fun with. Looking at that article, right? Key points from it, that Medicare Advantage, right? And I'm talking about this article right here just to put it back up on screen for you. Let me share that again. And again, I can put it in the group if you want, but again, it is hidden behind a paywall. So if you don't have access to modern healthcare, it doesn't matter. But this article here, some key points and how it affects you, right? So again, number one, I already said this, that this AEP is going to create a lot of involuntary shopping, right? It's going to create a lot of voluntary shopping too, right? So what that means for you as an agent, it creates a ton of opportunity, right? Between not only finding new sales from people that are bouncing off of plans, but it creates opportunity within service, retention, cross-marketing, et cetera. Second point from that article that you need to think about is that your existing book should probably be treated a little bit like a prospecting list, right? If you've got 1,000 MA clients, you should not assume that 900 will simply stay where they are, right? So you want to make sure that you have information on what is changing that is going to affect your book. And I'll get into that a little bit more here. It also talks about in this article that your carrier diversification becomes more important. If you got all your eggs in one basket and that basket starts exiting plans left and right, it's going to keep you very busy on just treading water versus continuing to grow, right? It also in there, it says, hey, we as agents, we need to be much more stringent on provider verification. That's going to become even more important as service area reductions happen. Carriers can attempt to control cost, PPO availability, et cetera. We really need to make sure that network verification is a strong suit as we're reviewing plans. And it also says that you should probably expect more emotional client conversations. A beneficiary who had Humana for 8 years doesn't care about medical loss ratios or CMS benchmark calculations. They're going to ask questions like, hey, why did they cancel my plan? Why can't I see my doctor anymore on this plan? What happened to my prescriptions? Am I losing my dental coverage? Why did my copay go up? What plan should I go to now? So expect some of those types of conversations. And I think the biggest takeaway from that article for an agent or agency is that, again, 2027 is not the collapse of Medicare Advantage. It is the continued restructuring of Medicare Advantage, right? Carriers still want Medicare members, and they want increasingly, but what they increasingly don't want are unprofitable Medicare members, plans, counties, or benefit structures. And we should 100% understand that. I mean, when it comes down to a profitability standpoint, like we as agents aren't in a charitable business either. Like we're trying to make a living here as well. So it's important that we are profitable. So we have to sometimes look at expenses. I was actually writing a post on this yesterday about how going back through your business and examining your expenses on where you can cut expenses, change expenses to increase your profitability, increase your margins is a simple way to make more money versus just writing more business. And I have been doing quite a bit of that in this last year, looking through some of the different tools that we have, subscriptions, memberships, phone systems, et cetera, to see where I can increase that. Carriers are doing the same thing, man. And I know a lot of you are just like, well, they're just going to stick it to the agent because the easiest way to make more money is reduce commissions. And yeah, you were probably somewhat correct on that. But it doesn't mean that the business is going away. We are just going to have to adapt a little bit. So fairly simple. And then with that said, I want to jump into what I call the AEP Check Up from the neck up, Sun Tzu style. Right? If you don't know Sun Tzu, he wrote the book called The Art of War. It is a very, very good book. It applies in business. It applies in relationship building. It applies in marketing. It applies in poker if you're a poker player. The lessons learned from Sun Tzu's Art of War are massive. right? And a matter of fact, he taught, just to kind of give you some examples, he taught that the best commanders don't walk into the battlefield hoping that things work out. They study themselves, they understand the environment, they prepare their resources, and they position themselves to win before the battle ever starts. And that is definitely true. Your AEP battle will be won before the battle starts if you do it correctly. October 15th should not be the day that you start getting ready for AEP. That should be the day that you execute on everything you've already prepared. So the central question then just becomes, hey, have you positioned yourself to succeed before AEP begins? So number one, know yourself. This is one of the most famous Sun Tzu principles. Number one, know yourself. Know yourself, know your opponent, and you greatly improve your odds of success, right? So it's not you worrying about competitors, carriers, leads, or production. It's you knowing yourself. Ask yourself, what are you really good at? What are you really good at? Are you really good at cross-marketing? Are you really good at relationship building? Are you really good at seminars? Are you really good at telesales? Like, what is it that you're really good at, right? That you can maybe lean into it. Next question, where did you struggle last AEP? Did you struggle in leads? Did you struggle in closing? Did you struggle in attaching hospital indemnity to all of your MA sales? Did you struggle with properly presenting Medicare supplement plans? Whatever it might be. Where did you struggle last AEP? Number three, where did you lose time? Time is one of our most valuable assets. And when it comes to a busy season like AEP, you don't have a lot of time to give. Your time should be very well swamped in marketing, presenting, reviewing, and closing. So where did you lose time? Number four, what conversations make you uncomfortable? What types of conversations are you having with your clients that might make you uncomfortable? Number five, what Medicare concepts do you need to sharpen? What are you not savvy on? Are you not savvy on the new DSNP SEPs and requirements to be able to move into FIDE or HIDE plans? Are you not savvy on Medicare supplements? Are you not savvy on hospital indemnity and how it fits into an MA? What are you not savvy on? What do you need to sharpen? Couple more questions. Do you tend to procrastinate? If you're an insurance agent, you probably do. I struggle with procrastination myself from time to time. Do you overbook yourself and overrun yourself where you're going to burn yourself in the ground? Is that a problem that you struggle with? Do you struggle with following up? There are a lot of agents out there that will not follow up with people if they can't close the deal on the first call, or if the client doesn't call them to express interest for a review or for a sale or whatever it might be. They don't follow up. Shoot, even my buddy Pete Fournier said I could probably done a lot better than 33 million if I just wasn't lazy and followed up with people. Sounds pretty crazy, but yes, the fortune is truly in the follow-up. So do you struggle with follow-up? And then finally, do you chase every opportunity instead of focusing on the right ones, right? So again, AEP checkup from the neck up starts with you knowing yourself. What are your biggest strengths? What are your biggest weaknesses? Because if you understand those, right, what you might realize is that, hey, your biggest weakness isn't your lead flow. It's just you. It's just you, because you overbook yourself. You procrastinate. You don't follow up. You chase every opportunity instead of the right one. You don't cross market, some of those different things. Like, be honest with yourself. And that's one of the hardest things for people to do, to be honest with you, is to be honest with yourself, right? We lie to ourselves all the time. I've given this analogy a lot, but I never became a winning poker player until I became honest with myself about what I sucked at, instead of trying to blame it on bad luck or bad, environment, things that I can't control. Like, no. I suck at poker and I need to learn some new principles to get better at it. And once I was willing to have that conversation with myself, did I turn it around? Same thing here, man. If you are not honest with yourself about your sales skills, your work ethic, etc., you don't have to tell everybody about those things, but be honest with yourself about it, and then you can fix it. Number two, win before you fight. This is a major theme in Sun Tzu. Great strategy creates favorable conditions before conflict even begins. So translating that better into AEP, don't enter October hoping you're ready. Enter October ready. How do we prepare? Well, certifications, number one, right? Pretty simple. If you haven't already knocked out all of your certifications, I'd advise you to get on it. That is one of those eat the frog things. If you're not familiar with the Brian Tracy adage of eat the frog, it basically means, hey, do the nastiest thing that you really don't want to do. It's not fun, but it's sitting on your desk and you need to get it off your plate. Just eat the frog, get it over with. So if you have, for any reason, not knocked out your certifications, get them done as fast as you can. Why is it so important to get those out of the way? So that you can focus on the other things that are much more important, right? Because if you're still trying to wrap your head around, hey, what are the service area reductions in my area and how is it going to affect my clients, but you're still busy doing certifications and you don't have time to investigate that, by the time October comes around, you're going to be a little behind the curve. So get your certifications knocked out as fast as you can. My goal is always to get my certs done before the end of July, right? As soon as AEP comes out, I immediately knock it out, and then I start working on my carrier certs. Thankfully, some of them have fast track options now that make it even quicker. But my goal every year, at least for the carriers that have them available, like, for example, I don't think Baylor Scott & White's one of the carriers I work with here in Central Texas. I still don't think they've released their certifications yet. Maybe not, but when I checked in on it last week, they still hadn't released them. So that's one straggler, but all the other ones are done. And it's always my goal to have them done before the end of July. I don't want to go into August doing that. My August is usually made up of preparation, marketing, efforts, recruiting, getting agents ready to go, right? So that September is the crunch month. A lot of the initiatives that we want to launch start in September, but we have to be preparing for those in August and getting them ready. So certifications, get them out of the way. Number two, product knowledge. What can you brush up on, right? Now, some of the carriers have already started to release some of their first looks. They're vague. Carriers are starting to roll out meetings to get you ready, right? Are you paying attention to those? Are you, whether it's a webinar, a live one, whatever, are you taking time to look at some of your best carriers, your best product options, and make sure that you're ready to go and you understand what some of the changes are, some of the enhancements might be, some of the disadvantages might be for your product lineup? Number three, CRM. It's the reason this whole show is sponsored by DFY. Do you have a CRM? What can you add to your CRM that's going to help you be more efficient? Maybe it's some automations. Maybe it's a simple workflow. Maybe it's just a better landing page for all of your people that need plan reviews, things of that nature. Client segmentation. What does your client base look like? Do you have some people that are DSNPs? You got some that are MAPD, and within your MAPD segment, who are your HMOs? Who are your PPOs? Who are your CSNPs? Who are your Medicare supplements? Who are your MA clients that don't have a hospital indemnity plan yet for whatever reason, right? Segment some of your people and look for where you can take more efficient care of them, right? Service area reduction, same concept, right? Put in your client segmentation, you should be examining service area reductions, if you have them already, against your current book. Like, as soon as I got those United Healthcare ones, first thing I did is I went and pulled all my United Healthcare business for MAPD, examined it against the SAR document that I was given. And good news is we only had a handful of clients that were going to be affected by that. So I can prioritize those clients and let them know, hey, your United Healthcare plan is not renewing next year, so we got to find something new for you. I can make sure that I get to them first, as a good agent should do. They know I've got their back. Next, in preparing, appointment process. What does your appointment process look like? Is it simple? Is it easy to get an appointment with you, or is it a pain in the ass? Do you have like a simple, even if it's just a simple landing page with a calendar people can go to and like, boom, schedule plan review, right? Piece of cake, get on the calendar right now. What kind of follow-up systems do you have prepared for? That you can follow up with your current client base, that you can follow up with people that are booking appointments with you, et cetera. How are your follow-up systems? Do you have some automations and reminders and some of those things built in? Are you taking, this is one thing I'm going to put in there as well. Are you taking good notes when you talk to your clients? This is one of the things my wife, Grace, always harps on with some of our agents. Like, dude, you got to take notes. And I don't just mean like notes on a sheet of paper. Like those notes need to be in your CRM attached to the client record so you know exactly what's going on with them. That's part of your follow-up systems. Prepare your marketing. What does your marketing look like for this AEP? Have you already thought about it? Do you already have it laid out? I know exactly what ours is going to look like, and I'm got a couple more weeks before I can get ready to launch it. I have 2 phases of it. I have our retention campaigns, which start in September, and then I have new business campaigns that start October. Pretty simple. What does your marketing look like? How's your calendar look? Is your calendar ready? Do you have it cleared? Have you prepared other people in your life that like, hey, AEP is coming? That's 7 weeks of leave me the hell alone, 8 weeks almost. Technology. Do you have all the technology that you need? Not that you should go crazy with technology, but is there some technology items that you can add to your business that helps you? And I'll give you a great example. We recently moved pretty much all of our business over to Health Sherpa for Medicare. We're no longer using Sunfire. We don't use Connecture. I'm probably going to drop a couple of other tech tools that I'm learning. Like they were great for a minute, but they're not doing anything more for me now, right? So what does your technology look like? And if you're not using Health Sherpa Medicare, not that I'm shilling for them, but I would highly recommend checking it out. They have your intake survey over there. You can upload the drug list as a picture or just a list, and it has AI that will snap it out for you. Their intake survey is good. Their scope of appointment super easy. You get English, Spanish interfaces on both sides for the agent and the client. Signature process is a joke. Like it is incredibly simple. So I have been encouraging all of our agents, use Health Sherpa now. Not to mention, Health Sherpa has automatic integrations with all of your Go High Level and agency block systems. And they'll give you APIs to help you with other integrations as well. So now when someone writes a Health Sherpa app, it auto maps into both of our CRMs because we use TFY on the front end and we use agency block on the back end for policy and commissions management. So it snap updates all of that, right? There's a few extras I've had to go in and tweak to improve it, but it works. Next up on preparation, because we're still in preparation, scripts. Do you need scripts? Do you have scripts? I've been in this business 22 years. I'm not a huge script person, but I still use them, right? I have new scripts that because I'm expanding into new lines of business here. So I have some scripts that I'm using to help me as well because I'm newer in the space. So I need some guidelines. Do you have those scripts? What do they look like? And you should have at least a short introductory call script for every type of call you might make. That way, you know, boom, I can just say this. Until it becomes second nature to you, you need to have some scripts going on for you. Do you have a referral strategy? Whether it might be through a networking group like BNI or Alignment or something like that, or you have clients that help you, or you have providers that help you, or you have group companies that help you, right? Things of that nature. And then obviously your client communication. Are you preparing your client communication? As an example, what do we know is about to start happening here very shortly, if it hasn't already? It's coming soon, is the ANOC letter from all the carriers. They send out the ANOC ANOC annual notice of change letter that tells the client, hey, these are some of the changes coming. Do you send your own ANOC letter out? You probably should. So one of the things that we do is we mail all of our current clients an ANOC letter of our own. And we mail that out in September. Like, hey, just to remind you, the AEP is coming up. I use some very simple language in it. Hey, AEP is coming. This is the time of year that you're allowed to review your plan for any possible changes you need to make. And I also tell them usually a plan change is not necessary. But if you've had any changes to your medications, your health conditions, your doctors, providers, I would highly recommend scheduling a plan review with us. Scan the QR code, get on the calendar. So we mail that out to everybody that's in our current clients. We email everybody in our database that same thing. And then we have a VA that calls them all and says the same thing. Hey, you already know AEP's coming up. And she just calls and starts booking appointments for October. That is client communication. And the idea is that preparation turns AEP from chaos into execution. Just like my buddy Ali Saleh says all the time. Order comes out of chaos. Same thing. You know, an inexperienced agent will walk into AEP asking, hey, what do I do today? Whereas the prepared agent, they already know. Number 3, know the terrain. Sun Tzu spends a tremendous amount of time talking about terrain because strategy changes depending on the environment that you're in. And we're in a little bit of a, you could call it somewhat of a hostile environment, right? So know your terrain, your local market, your carrier landscape, provider changes, plan changes, the competitive environment, the demographics of your area, your existing book, your lead sources, your community relationships, etc. That is your terrain. And we have a big board in our main bullpen area that has the 8 steps to daily success on it. One of those, step 4 or 5, I forget, is to work your territory correctly. Terrain, territory, same thing, right? Work it correctly. So do you know the battlefield that you're operating on, right? Because an agent that's working heavily with veterans would need a different strategy than, say, someone that's doing all DSNP or working with rural beneficiaries versus in the city, right? An agent with 700 existing clients has a different strategy than a first-year agent with only 50. Your strategy needs to fit your terrain. What does your terrain look like? Don't just copy someone else's battle plan. Number 4, intelligence before action. Don't get that confused with analysis paralysis, because the truth is information does not pay commissions, execution does. But have some intelligence before action. There's a ton of value in information that's very applicable to Medicare. So before you recommend anything, gather some intelligence. For every client, what changed? Did their doctors change their prescriptions? Did the terrain for them change? Finances, did the residents? Like, what changed for the client? Because information that they can give you that you can get from them will come before you need to make a recommendation. Don't just begin with the plan, begin with the person there, right? So information, intelligence before action. Number 5, choose your battles. And this is probably one of the strongest parts of this whole thing, because not every prospect deserves the same amount of time. Not every client requires the same depth of review. Right? Not every marketing opportunity deserves your money. Not every phone call needs to interrupt what you're doing. Choose your battles. Don't waste your resources fighting battles that aren't going to advance your objective to write whatever your target is for your AEP business, right? Protect your time. Look at it pretty simple. Maybe you need to segment certain things. Green is stable. I don't need to pay attention to that. Yellow would be it needs my attention. Red would be priority. Right? And then obviously you take care of those, you prioritize them accordingly. Number 6, logistics wins wars. And this is where you start to move into systems a little bit more, because people might over romanticize strategy, but armies, right, will fail when logistics fail. Same for us. Same thing happens during our AEP. The agent may be great at selling Medicare, but their CRM is disorganized. They don't take notes. They can't remember the passwords for all the sites that they have to go to. Their client information is incomplete, right? Or again, disorganized. The calendar is overloaded or empty. Follow-ups get forgotten because we don't schedule tasks to follow up. We don't take notes on the client to remind us of why we need to follow up and what we're following up about. Your voicemail is full and you can't listen to any voicemails, if anybody's even using voicemail anymore. And, you know, you're just missing information, right? Incomplete information. Those logistics will slow your entire operation down, make you inconsistent, and ultimately you will not get what you need. So you got to think like, hey, are my supply lines ready for AEP? Because we're going into war. That's my CRM, my calendar, my technology, my staff, my communication, my documentation, my enrollment systems, and my follow-up. So again, number 6, logistics wins wars. Number 7, avoid the protracted war. Donald Trump could probably learn something about that. Anyway, Sun Tzu specifically warned about prolonged warfare exhausting your resources. And that's a perfect metaphor for AEP burnout. Don't burn yourself out, right? A lot of agents will approach AEP as soon as October 15th come around. They just go absolutely insane. And then sometime around Thanksgiving, they collapse, right? Instead, pace yourself, man. Make sure that you're getting your sleep. You're getting good health. You're taking care of yourself, right? You are spending some family time to re-energize yourself, right? Whether it's a phone call, a Zoom call, a Facebook, or going to have some dinner or lunch with a family member or good close friends. Those people are like getting back close to the fire because a lot of them will reignite your purpose to send you back out in the battle. So that will help protect your energy, your decision making, and your administrative time, right? Fatigue, if you overburn yourself, fatigue will create mistakes and you will make more mistakes because you're fatigued. And in Medicare, mistakes aren't just inconvenient. They create compliance issues, dissatisfied clients, problems, lost business, unnecessary stress, complaints to Medicare, things of that nature. So the goal isn't just to survive AEP. The goal should be to remain effective throughout AEP. You can collapse on December 8th, man. Collapse on December 8th, but don't collapse before then. Number 8, flexibility beats rigidity, right? This is another big Sun Tzu principle in regards to adaptability. The plans matter, but conditions change. Maybe a carrier becomes less competitive. Maybe a provider situation changes. Marketing isn't producing. Your calendar's overloaded. Lead sources underperform. Clients or client concerns aren't really what you expected this year because they're different, right? So flexibility beats rigidity. If you're always thinking the same way, it always has to be this way. It can't be any different. Nope, always got to do it this way. No. As the market shifts, the client's needs shift. You have to be flexible enough to shift as well, right? A disciplined agent doesn't stubbornly continue doing something just because, hey, that's the plan. That's the way we've always done it, right? You need to observe, assess, and adapt. Observe what is happening in the space, assess how it affects you or affects your clients, affects your business, and adapt to it so that you can continue to do that. I had a mentor a long time ago that said that you have to learn to be a chameleon. Speaking of chameleons, I think I have an infestation of chameleons in my office, but I can't even really tell. So again, flexibility beats rigidity. So some of the things you might ask yourself is, hey, what's working? What's not working? Where are my bottlenecks? What lead source is producing? What lead source is not producing? Where am I getting my appointments from? What are my conversion rates? Where are the good ones? What are the bad ones? What are my clients? It's the big one. What are my clients telling me is happening out there? And am I listening to it? And ultimately, where am I losing time? Number 9, this is the final one. We'll wrap this up. The best victory is trust. And this is where you should intentionally depart from, well, let me say it this way. Sorry. The beneficiary is not your enemy, right? Another agent isn't necessarily the enemy. I've said this many times before that the other agents that are out there working in our territories or in our neighborhoods or whatever, they're not really your competition. They're your brotherhood. And you should learn to work better with them. So the goal isn't really to defeat a person, right? The goal is to position yourself so well that the client confidently chooses to work with you. Gave you a perfect example when I opened up this show. I threw that seminar yesterday. I vomited my brand in a very professional manner all around the room, right? So that is me positioning myself so well that as soon as that one guy, and he wasn't the only one, but as soon as that one guy walked in, he immediately filled out an appointment card because he knew this is someone I want to hear from more and I want to work with before I'd even opened my mouth, right? So creating trust is usually one of the best victories because ultimately trust can eliminate the battle, right? The client trusts you already. You've served the client well all year. You've communicated well. You've followed up well. You've created trust. That eliminates a big part of the battle because now they don't need to battle back through that. I've said this many times that one of our jobs as agents or salespeople is to reduce friction in the relationship. Trust is a big way to reduce all that friction. And don't force people to trust you. Show them that you're trustworthy by constant, good, transparent, timely communication that is on point. So the readiness test is simple. Number 1, know yourself. Do you know what your strengths and weaknesses are? Knowledge. Do you understand the Medicare environment that you're entering? Terrain. Do I understand my market, my book of business, the demographics of my marketplace? Number 4, intelligence. Do I have the information necessary to serve my clients? Number 5, logistics. Are my systems prepared to handle the volume? And finally, endurance. Can I maintain this pace throughout AEP? And then ask yourself where you're the weakest, and that's where AEP will probably expose you. So I hope you like that. I hope that helps you out and gives you something to chew on as we get ready for AEP. Because AEP doesn't really suddenly just make you organized. It reveals whether you're organized or not. So hopefully this helped you put that together a little bit. That is the checkup from the neck up. And we will dive some more into this next week, probably more carrier stuff, because all of that is continuing to fold out. So thank you all for tuning in. Have yourself a phenomenal day. And we'll see you on the flip side for the next Tuesday training.